breaks my heart to see so many people who now are eschewing management roles because they're like, why do I want the extra stress and the headache?
Yeah, it kind of makes my eyes water just talking about it. But just know that you can be the leader you want to be. You just may have to change your scenery, and that's okay.
What are some tips you'd have for what I can do to kind of foster a better relationship with my HR counterparts?
Lean into the relationship. Evaluate those relationships just real quick in your mind. Are those healthy collaborations?
Fear gets the best of us so many times, and we think, I'm afraid that I'm going to be seen as less, people aren't going to take me seriously or respect me, and it prevents us from doing the exact thing, which is reaching out to somebody who can help.
Instead, you look like more. Now you're on my succession plans.
As leaders, our job is to create something similar, that level of safety that allows people to be authentic.
And you want that as a leader because that creates this level of trust that unlocks so much for you as the manager of that team.
My very special guest is the founder and CEO of HR Manifesto. She considers herself a toxic workplace survivor after working nearly 20 years in corporate America, supporting a handful of Fortune 100 companies as a human resources executive. She now devotes her time to helping workers thrive through approachable coaching and inspired storytelling through her social content creation, keynotes, writing, and training resources. She is Leigh Elena Henderson. Welcome to the show, Leigh.
Hi, Matt. It's so great to be here with you on Lead the People. Thanks for having me.
It's wonderful to see you again. Last time we were together, we were in Vegas. We were having a nice dinner there at the Transform conference, and I got to know you a little bit, and I loved our conversation.
Oh, me too. Me too. So I'm so glad we can come together and do this. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Well, I wanted to say congratulations. You recently celebrated your 4-year anniversary of launching HR Manifesto, and I thought that would be a great place for us to get started. What is it that led you to create and post that first TikTok video 4 years ago?
Yes. So it was actually June 3rd, 2025 was my 4-year anniversary. So back in 2021, I kicked this little HR Manifesto thing off online. And really the impetus of starting that was I had just left yet another very toxic position. And I said, well, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take the summer off. And of course, that lasted maybe a week. And I started, my passion project. Yet again, I picked it back up, which was writing a book of some of my experiences in corporate America and, loaded with some of my coaching. And so I started, writing, and then it dawned on me, gosh, I wonder if this stuff's even helpful. And I was like, how can I test this content? I need to put it on social somewhere. And at that moment, a friend of mine texted me a TikTok, as so many people do, right? They just randomly send you TikToks. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I try this TikTok thing. At that point, I didn't even have the app. And so I downloaded the app, and that night I posted 2 videos. And 2 weeks later, I had 10,000 followers. And now 4 years later, I'm, I think at 1.6 million across my platforms there. So I just stumbled into it, basically is how it started. But I put that book kind of back on the shelf up here until recently and just really dove into HR Manifesto. But it has been one hell of a ride, I'll tell you.
Well, I think it's amazing that you've got so many great stories to tell and anecdotes, and your style comes through in your content like so crisply. And I can see where you got such a big following. And it's one of those things where people are looking for that voice, that sort of you get me kind of thing, as well as the tips as you provide and everything else. And it's just, it's great to see your community kind of show out for you. It's really been impressive.
Yeah. And I absolutely love them. And really, I created HR Manifesto because there was nothing out there that I found for me, like from a social perspective. There were no communities talking about the trauma of work at times, or toxic workplaces, or bad bosses, or how to, all of those things weren't in the conversations there even just a few years ago. Not that I could find. And so I just really started that outlet for myself, and shared it with everybody. So, but community is a big part of it, right? It really, people feel less alone. And I'm glad they feel that way listening to HR Manifesto.
It's huge, and like you said, you think all of us go through our experiences, we think we're the only ones, and then you share a little bit. Sometimes you maybe just share at your workplace, and you just kind of make yourself vulnerable in a way you hadn't before, and all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, me too," and you're like, "Really? I can't believe it." And then in your case, doing it really publicly, like on TikTok, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, this many people. And it's something that really helps us to kind of lift ourselves up and
Yeah.
understand, like you said, you're not alone. And at the same time, we can, there's a lot of like-minded people out there that we can, feel some solidarity with, which is nice.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, one of the things I thought we could explore is a little bit. I have a long and storied history with HR, and I would summarize the story of Matt, you're a crappy manager, and we're here to make you better. That's how I would summarize
We're going to
that
fix
story.
you.
Yeah, we're gonna fix you. I tell the story sometimes that I had some really hard coaching after a candidate interview. One of the first ones I did, I had my HR counterpart was listening in as I talked to the candidate, and I said, "What do you think? How did it go?" And she said, "Well, the candidate was great, and you were terrible." And I thought, "Oh no, that's a problem. I got to get better at this." And she gave me the really hard coaching that I needed, and it really helped to make me better. And I thought, man, if HR can help me get better at interviewing, what more can I do? And so I'd start with this question for you, Leigh, which is for managers like myself, like what should we be thinking about when it comes to HR's role and capability and helping us when it comes to professional development and our own growth?
Yeah. Just that HR does have a role in that. I mean, I think even just that realization or recognition could really help and go a long way in that relationship. I've had experiences where I've entered a workplace, and this is actually how it goes every single time when I enter a workplace. I have a camp of managers that really lean into me. I mean, they reach out, they want that one-on-one before I can even put the one-on-one down. They welcome me, they are ready to collaborate. I mean, they are ready to just get to work and just start building that relationship with me. And then I always have the other camp of managers that avoid me like the plague, right? Oh, here's another HR person, and oh my goodness, and like, what do I do with them? And I'll tell you what, building and focusing on and realizing the importance of having strong relationships with those on your work team is going to get you so much further. It really, really is, right? And so, you have an HR person come in, a new one, or let's say you have an HR person now and you've never had a conversation with them. Why don't you start it? Just lean into that relationship because we are all on the same team within the workplace, whether you want to believe that or not. We are. We just have different roles and responsibilities. But you want that collaborative team of experts around you to help maximize you personally, and definitely you as a leader. So, every bit helps, right? Everyone on that team is going to help you to be successful. They really, really are.
Yeah, I think my relationship with HR really evolved when I came to understand two things. One is how important the role is, and the other is how difficult it is. And it's important because there's things that happen inside of an organization where HR has to keep us safe. There's certain requirements, and in many cases, HR is enforcing sort of standards and rules that protect the business. Like you have to understand that business people also take steps to protect from risk. And we understand that. But then there's this entire other developmental aspect of HR saying you've actually studied these things in the way that the average manager hasn't. So there's real value to be had there too. So understanding that, yeah, HR can be both things. I think sometimes as managers, maybe that camp that you pointed out only sees HR in the one light, and that light's there, right? There has to be a protectionary part of it, but that's not the only light any more than I'd want to be pigeonholed as a manager that you only look at me like I just want to drive the result and like I don't care about my people. That would be an unfair characterization of
Exactly.
manager.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the part that sometimes strikes me or takes me aback, like just how you went to school to learn what you did. Well, so did I. I have a couple graduate degrees. I went to business school, and I know what I'm talking about too as a subject matter expert within the business, right? And so I want to be seen as that SME, that subject matter expert, and I want to be partnered with in that way and utilized in that way and collaborated with. So it's funny how, you know, some colleagues will think, ah, well, it's people, it's easy. It's actually the exact opposite, and you know it. But we do focus on business sustainability. So people want what they want. They don't like hearing no. I never say no. I say yes in a different way, or I say no with questions. Right? I'm very creative with it because I don't want to. My goal or aim is never to tell somebody no. I'm just trying to seek to understand what you're trying to accomplish, and then how can we get there in a maybe a more successful or effective way that's not illegal. But yeah, managers, they, I get it. No one likes being told no to do something, but just know that someone like me and my peers and my colleagues that I've come across in my career, we really do focus on business sustainability. We have to keep the doors open so that everyone is gainfully employed, and we're able to have a long, incredible history here, which of course then benefits our communities and the people, that we serve, our ultimate customers, right? I mean, that really is the goal. But I know things that you don't know behind the scenes, just like you know things that I don't know. So that's why really that partnership and communication and collaborating is so important to try and get on the same page of understanding.
I think you've nailed the exact right term, which is partnership, because I'm so glad that HR professionals, just speaking selfishly, you all have to worry about things that I don't have to, because to
Thank
me it's
you.
mind numbing. It's confusing as hell. It's just like it's terrible parts of what you have to do. And so I'm so glad that you're playing that role. And at the same time, the partnership, knowing that nobody can have a relationship with the people who report directly to me better than me. So HR can't be a proxy or a substitute for that human connection of somebody getting feedback on their performance, or getting, lifted up when they're having a kind of a rough time, or their performance has slipped, or whatever it might be. So there's a way that partnership kind of is really what's required to make sure that the organization's safe, yes, but also that the individuals are getting the best sort of management and opportunities for their own growth and development that they can.
Oh, agree with you there.
But now some of the managers are going to be a little bit sort of hesitant, because it's not fun to go to somebody. Like in my case, I was open to the coaching that I got, but I didn't necessarily feel like, hey, you know what I suck at? Interviewing. Can you help me? That didn't exactly happen. It happened later. But in that first time, how do you recommend that a manager who might say, you know what, my game's probably not as sharp as I'd like it to be, how can they approach HR for some help without worrying too much about being vulnerable? Or is this going to be held against me later when it comes time for promotion? Like some of them might be avoiding talking to HR because they don't want to be seen as like, oh, well, this person's clearly not management material if they're asking me these basic questions.
Yeah, it's actually like the opposite is true. On the contrary, right? Someone that proactively, comes to me and wants to partner with me, wants my coaching because they see value in my expertise as a colleague, I'm like, wow, that's exactly what my executive clients do. Right. So, I do HR business support. So I've led, GMs and CEOs. And let me tell you, they don't know what they don't know. And they're very open about it. Right. I mean, at that level, they're just like, Leigh, what do I do? I have no clue. Help, help, help. Right. I mean, they're just tell me, coach me, advise me. And so I am used to that level of vulnerability, in that partnership with business clients. I would say, managers and peer level or below, are probably less comfortable, or feel, they don't feel like they can be as vulnerable for the reasons you just shared. But it only reflects well on them, right? I'm thinking, gosh, this is someone that can be vulnerable. This is someone that wants to develop. This is a future executive leader in this organization because they want to have that sort of conversation with me that I'm used to having with the CEO. Like, yes, like they want to serve the business. They want to become better for our customer. Like, yes, they're total promotion material, like times 1,000. Wonderful, right? Because in the absence of information, you're assuming the worst. We all do that, right? There's theories on this. That it's just how we are as human beings. So if I see managers that I know are struggling, I can see it. And, they are avoiding me, or they don't want, they're not having those conversations, or they're not asking for feedback, or they're not receptive to it. I'm just thinking, oh, I guess they probably don't want promoted. Right? That's what I'm naturally thinking. Ooh, this leadership freaks them out. I'm trying to prepare them. I'm trying to train them, but I guess, they're maxed out. Like, so we do that, right? I mean, so um, right, wrong, or indifferent. So absolutely lean into that. It does not look bad at all. It's the opposite.
Lee, doggone it. This is why I love doing this show, because I had no idea. I had never thought about it that way, but it's so true. When you think about executives, they're so comfortable in their position because obviously they come and they say, I don't have to have all the answers. Like, that's the hallmark of leadership, is knowing that you don't have to have all the answers, but you better get the advice from people who can help you. In this case, we're talking about HR. And I think it's so true that you end up with managers who are like, fear gets the best of us so many times. And we think, I'm afraid that I'm going to be seen as less. People aren't going to take me seriously or respect me, or I'm going to, put myself into a position where I'm not promotable. And it prevents us from doing the exact thing, which is reaching out to somebody who can help.
Yeah.
So I think it's
Yeah.
such great advice. I love that.
Instead, you look like more. You don't look like less. You look like more. You look like the future. Now you're on my succession plans. Now I get to know you. Right? I mean, so how fantastic is that, right?
Yeah, we all the time we say emulate, the executives, if that's the position you want to have someday. And I think now it's recognizing that they operate by using HR as strategic counsel. And now
Absolutely.
it's saying like, oh, wait a second, if I want to be an executive someday too, now's a good and safe time to get good at that. Develop those relationships and approach HR with questions. Look, for that hard coaching like I got, to be able to really raise your game, because I love, for all the reasons you just shared. It's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah,
But I'll shift gears on you a little bit here. And it's, I was working with a coworker, Kaylee, Kaylee,
I
and
do.
she's like, Lee's stuff is so cheeky and so witty. And I said, are you from Britain? I don't understand. Cheeky. That's great. I love that. But it's true. It's so signature, the way that you do that. And it reminded me of authenticity. It got me on that theme. And so I wonder if you might tell me, like, did you struggle at all with being as evocative as you are, as witty as you are now on camera in front of the world, or was that something you had to get comfortable with?
Well, shout out to Kaylee. Love her. She's fantastic. And yes, the content is cheeky. And hopefully you go like, follow, subscribe, share all of that to HR Manifesto on your preferred platform. There's my little shameless plug there. But what you will notice is that sometimes I'm directly coaching, just like I would anybody, like just very direct, like to the screen. I'm just chatting with you and bringing you into my home, and I'm in yours, and we're just talking one-on-one. But sometimes the content, like you said, is cheeky, because I call that approachable coaching through inspired storytelling, right? I am showing instead of telling in the coaching style, because I know people are receptive to different things. Now, from an authenticity standpoint, I have always been insane. Okay. So this is just me. I'm an only child, and I'm AUHD and with impulsivity. And I mean, I am just a very creative weirdo. So I've always been like that. I've always talked, I've always said what I wanted to say. I roll it in sugar, though, respectfully, of course. But I've always had that sort of level of just, confidence, and that sense of just speaking my mind and owning it, and not, not bullshitting people, just being very honest, because I think that is respect. So that's just like me and my background. And then my dad, boy, I got my storytelling from him. I mean, he is the funniest person that I've ever met in my life. And we just had so much fun together before he passed, unfortunately, unexpectedly, about 12 years ago. But just that wit and that authenticity and the mental illness, that all comes from him. But I'll tell you, in my workplaces, I have felt so unsafe being my real authentic self in many of them. And so me feeling that was always a reminder to create a space where people could feel whole, because we all bring our whole selves to work. And so that had always been such a motivation for me throughout my corporate career, is that, hey, this feeling that I can't be me, I don't want anyone else to feel like that. So I'm going to work my tail off here in this position to take down those walls and borders, because we all deserve to feel accepted, and who we are is enough. So that's always been very important to me. The times I've been very authentically myself at work got me in trouble. Let's be real. Let's be honest. I love to keep it real and honest. Again, sometimes it's not safe. Did I do it anyway? Yes. Did I pay for that at times? Absolutely. Right. And so it's just, could I help it? No. Again, reference back, mental, it's mental. Sometimes I can't control it. But yeah, that's where really the content comes from. So when I started, HR Manifesto, I basically just turned a camera on. A lot of what I do is ad-libbed, it's unscripted. I have a general idea, but I'm like referencing past. That's why it feels so real. It is real. I'm just referencing past experiences and bad leaders, and I just kind of let it rip. So it is pretty easy for me to be this weird. It's very natural.
That's good. You don't waste a lot of energy
I
trying to
don't.
bottle it up,
I
and it sounds
don't.
like you've learned that over the years of saying, "Hey, you're gonna get what you get, and you don't get upset. That's just how it is." I think there's two really important leadership lessons in what you're sharing, though. One is the authenticity that you have cuts through the noise. And you want to talk about noise, you talk about TikTok. So the fact that you're willing to be authentic and that you have developed such a strong following, I think they go part and parcel, right? So the fact is that your style is so unique and it's so authentic that it just comes through. So I think that for leaders who are listening, it's saying that if you're not being authentic and you're trying to sort of fit in and all that, you're going to get lost in the sauce of just organizational work. You get drowned out by so many tasks and deadlines and project plans, blah, 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 all this stuff. And the second bit is when you talk about this nature of authenticity and the leadership, as leaders, our job is to create something similar, that level of safety that allows people to be authentic. Because if we don't do what you shared and didn't always feel in your career, then our people who can't fully be authentic, that's energy they're putting into sort of manipulating themselves to try not to be discovered in some way. We don't want that energy going into nonsense things like that. We want that energy going into the mission, into the work, into supporting the team, et cetera. So I think that both of those lessons, be authentic yourself and know that you need to create authenticity the way, Leigh, that you just shared with us. I think those are both powerful and very vibrant lessons for us today. So,
And you
yeah.
want that as a leader. You really, focus on creating those safe spaces for your team to be who they are and accept them for who they are, right, wrong, or indifferent, right? You want that because that just creates this level of trust that unlocks so much for you as the manager of that team. This is a team that will bring everything to you, right? You will never be surprised. And I don't mean everything in an annoying way. I mean, ooh, hey, I found out this opportunity, or, ooh, wow, this customer needs X, Y, and Z. We have a big deal that we could get. Or, all of that starts coming to you because that trust is so high, because people feel so good being led by you, right? They have let those guards down. And then here comes this communication going both ways, free flow, that is just so empowering. And just like I said, it can unlock so much success from a financial standpoint, but also personally. Imagine going to bed at night and just knowing that, gosh, I am making a difference in people's lives, because work is a livelihood for folks and they are resting easier. And so am I, because we all are bringing our authentic, real selves to work, and we're accepting each other for who we are, right? And making space for one another. I mean, it it makes such a difference. It does change lives.
It does, and it's possible. I think that's the thing that I didn't appreciate when I was earlier on, is I would read these things and I'd study them, but maybe I wouldn't do them. And only once I started doing them, a few decades ago at this point, did I start getting that feedback of people really giving me and reflecting back to me the conditions that I myself was creating. And then I got greedy for it. I'm like, I want more of this sort of
Right.
authenticity to flow up, because if distrust and distortion and inauthenticity are what's flowing up to me, and then I just flow that up to my executives because the culture is maybe creating a lack of safety, that organization is not going to do very well, because we need truth and authenticity and we need accuracy in these things.
Yeah.
So, for all the reasons you're telling us, Lee, I think it's just fabulous advice.
And I'd say, if I may, what does that look like for you as a manager? Because that sounds so aspirational and just like butterflies and rainbows, right? Like, what is that? What is creating a safe space? Well, that could be something as easy as you as a manager saying, "Hey guys, I'm going out on vacation next week. Just a reminder. Um, I will not be available for calls, for meetings. Just text me if there's an emergency, and I will be there for you, of course, but I trust you all to do what's necessary for the business." But see, it's you just saying that, "Hey, I'm not going to sacrifice my time with my family and friends, my personal well-being for work." Just just displaying that so that they know, "Ooh, when I go on vacation, then it's okay for me to actually enjoy myself and not work while I'm doing it." See, that people are making those connections all the time, but it's just like one line like that is creating a safe space for your employees to feel like they can be vulnerable and real at work. So just a quick example there of how you can really make a huge difference with just language and then action, hopefully, to follow it up.
It's such a great example too, because that type of modeling, I think we often don't recognize as leaders, that everyone is watching all the time, and they're looking for inaccuracies between, well, you said you were going to go on vacation, but then you were on my email at 9 o'clock from Bora Bora, and what the heck is that all about?
Yes.
So always looking for those things, but I feel like everyone's watching all the time when we set the example and when we bring authenticity in, we create safety, and we don't have to do it perfectly, especially not in the beginning. If it's new to you, don't worry about it. Your team will guide you through their reactions, but I think it's so worth doing for organizational reasons. We get better performance, we get better outcomes, but also just personally, I think it breaks my heart to see so many people who now are eschewing management roles, because they're like, why do I want the extra stress and the headache?
Yes.
I'm like, oh my God, one of my greatest joys in life has been leading other people,
Mhm.
because
Me
of the
too.
difference I can make for them. To think that we're just destroying, this sort of identity for an entire generation of people, it's terrible.
Yeah, and, to your point, Matt, I've recognized that here just within the last year. I had not ever seen that before, ever. So talk about a flip completely, right? And it is heartbreaking because similarly to you, it's just been one of the greatest joys of my life being a leader and affecting lives in that way, right? It kind of makes my eyes water just talking about it. So to know there's such great people out there that are opting out because, they're assuming or within that workplace that they happen to be in, that leadership team, that's the culture. Wow, but just know that you can be the leader you want to be. You just may have to change your scenery, and that's okay. You'll have a better time anyway, if you did.
And I think it goes back to, and you're going to need help along the way. You're going to need help from peers, from more senior people outside your organization, but you're going to need help from HR. So I want to ask you this question, Lee, which is, if let's say that I'm a manager, I'm a leader, I'm listening on this call, and I'm like, you know what, my relationship with HR is maybe it's good, not great. Maybe it's fairly reactive. What are some tips you'd have for what I can do to kind of foster a better relationship with my HR counterparts?
I love how you say it's fairly reactive. Oh man, we get the squeaky wheels all the time, right? Oh, here's so and so with the issue they created. Like they're back, right? Even if you are the squeaky wheel person there, the squeaky manager, that's okay. We still love you and adore you and will help you. But lean into the relationship. I mean, step back and think, okay, how do I collaborate with finance? How do I collaborate with purchasing? How do I collaborate with marketing, sales, procure wherever you are collaborating today? Evaluate those relationships just real quick in your mind. Are those healthy collaborations? Most likely they are, right? They're working. You have some sort of tether to them. You have some sort of rhythm. Can you replicate that with the other subject matter experts that are there to help you within the organization, and in this case, HR, right? We do feel left out. We do feel left out. We are humans that went to, like I said, we went to school and we've studied and we have tons of experiences and we love to share and help and serve. I mean, it's selfless service. That's HR. And so we do feel left out when you don't, come and want to work with us, or, you shy away from collaborating, because we can prevent together so many issues, and we can unlock so many beautiful things together when we do collaborate with you. So just know that 9 times out of 10, you have a partner that doesn't just want a reactive relationship and to fix your messes. You know what I'm talking about? I'm being nice, but you know what I'm talking about. We can prevent a lot of those, and we can help you maximize your processes, especially on the people side. There's things that we can do and know and have experience with, to help you drive great solutions for your team. So I would just say, hey, real quick, think about those relationships you have across the business, and are you giving HR the same opportunity to serve you?
So good. So good. Yeah, lean in and build those relationships. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, Leigh, I'm not as much fun as you, but I do one thing that's fun on my show, and that's that I have this trivia segment. And so you and I are going to be a team,
Oh,
and I call this, Are We Smarter Than AI? We're going to have AI ask us a question. So you and I don't know what question's about to come, but I know that you host a podcast called HR Besties, along with Ashley Hurd and Jamie Jackson.
yes.
And so I want to have a trivia question about the show Friends. We all remember
Oh,
Friends, of course.
yes.
So we're going to see what we got here. What was the name of Joey's, shall we say, unique acting agent? Oh my gosh, this is pretty deep. Was it Estelle Leonard, Ursula Buffet, or Phoebe Buffet?
Wasn't it Ursula
I think it was Ursula. It
Buffet?
was either Ursula or Estelle, but I think Buffet was Phoebe Buffet. That was
Yes.
Phoebe's last
Mhm,
name. So I'm just
mhm.
trying to throw us off. It might be Estelle. You think it might be Estelle
Oh
Leonard?
gosh.
I don't know. We should go with one. What do you
I was
think?
more of a Seinfeld person, I'll be honest.
Oh
I
yeah,
did watch
about
The
that.
Friends, but not obsessively, you know what I mean?
Not well, I'll tell you what, we're a team. Let's go with all right, we're gonna go with
Okay,
Estelle
okay.
Leonard. Audience, if you're playing along at home, you can go ahead and lock in your answer. Let's say you got it. The correct answer, Estelle Leonard. We got that one.
Oh, you got
Truly
it.
one of a kind. There you go. Well, that's why we're a team. That was our HR
There you go, there you
partnership.
go.
Goodness, great
Yes,
work. We got
yes, let me
it done.
take credit.
But I got an even better question for you, of course, Leigh, which is where can my audience go to learn more about you?
Yes, well, hrmanifesto.com, of course, right? I love doing speaking engagements, not as good as Matt at the speaking. Shout out, Matt. But absolutely love kind of getting around to conferences and whatnot. So you can hire me to do that there for your teams. But HR Manifesto, especially on Instagram, TikTok, yeah, you can find me there, every day I'm putting something out content wise. So
I love it. I love it. Listeners, I'm gonna have those links for you in the show notes. You're only one click away from getting in touch with Leigh. And I also have the recommendation, you might as well use this opportunity to nurture that relationship with HR. Just reach out and say, hey, have you seen this HR manifesto? And just kind of have a bonding moment with your HR partner about that. That would be an awesome thing to
love
do. And
that
get them talking to be
coaching.
like, yeah, I love Leigh. How do you know Leigh? I was listening to a podcast or whatever it might be. You can just have a
Love.
nice little conversation. Say, hey, now that I got you for a minute, I got a work situation. Yeah, do one of
I
those.
love that. That is the perfect opener. There you go. There you go.
Well, Leigh, thanks so much for being with me. It was wonderful seeing you as always. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you.